In a world where magic is real and mythical creatures roam the lands, there exists a secret academy for gifted students known as the School of Admirari. It is a place where young magic users are trained in the arts of sorcery and the study of the supernatural. One of these students is Vivian, a young witch who faces many challenges in her life. She lives with Tessa in a dorm. Vivian found a companion, the magic book. Together with her friends, she experiences adventure in the School of Admirari. It is Friday night, and the girls are flipping through the pages of books. The dorm room is small and cozy, with 2 beds pressed up against opposite walls. The walls are painted a soft shade of blue. Vivian sits cross-legged on her bed, her nose buried in her magic book. The book is ancient, with pages made of a thin, delicate material that seems almost translucent in the light of the lamp. She has been trying to decipher the runes and symbols that cover the pages for hours, but to no avail. Every time she thinks she has made some progress, the letters swirl and dance, rearranging themselves into something new and unintelligible. Frustration mounting, Vivian lets out a sigh and leans back against her pillows. "Tessa," Vivian calls out to her roommate, "do you think there's any way we can decipher this book? I've been trying for hours and I'm getting nowhere." Tessa looks up from her own book and grins. "Of course there is, Viv. We just need to approach it from a different angle. Have you tried looking at it through a crystal? Or maybe with binoculars?" Vivian shakes her head. "I didn't think of that, but it is a great idea, Tessa. Do you think we can find a student with binoculars?" Tessa's expression falters for a moment, and she lets out a heavy sigh. "I wish I could help you, Viv. But my parents chose my magical object for me, and it's definitely not binoculars. I don't have any control over it." With Tessa's words, Vivian's heart sinks. She knows how much Tessa longs to have more control over her own magical companion, but her parents are severe and believe they know what suits her best. "I'm sorry, Tessa. I didn't mean to bring up a sore subject." Tessa shakes her head and forces a smile. "It's okay, Viv. I'm just a little jealous that you get to choose your own magical object. But don't worry, we'll figure something out. We always do." Vivian places a hand on Tessa's shoulder. "Hey, I know what can cheer you up. Why don't you show me your book of magical companions? I love seeing all the different creatures and objects you've discovered." Tessa's eyes light up at the suggestion, and she eagerly grabs her book and flips to a new page. As the 2 girls pore over the book, they heard a strange sound coming from outside their dorm room. It is a high-pitched whine, almost like the cry of a wounded animal. Vivian and Tessa exchange worried glances and rush to the window to investigate. But they see nothing outside. The sound seems to be coming from the hallway. Vivian furrows her brow in confusion. "That's strange. Do you think Zoe comes back early and is playing a prank on us?" Tessa shakes her head again. "No, her parents took her away for the weekend, remember?" They exchange a worried peek before venturing out into the hallway to investigate. As they walk, the whining grows louder and more frantic. It sounds like it is coming from the direction of the stairwell. Vivian and Tessa exchange another look before making their way down the stairs. The sound is so loud, like it is standing right next to them. Suddenly, a shadowy figure appears at the end of the hallway, illuminated by the flickering light of the overhead lamps. As the shadow comes closer, they notice a fox teacher looking up at them with its bright eyes. Vivian and Tessa immediately recognize her as one of the teachers from the School of Admirari. The fox clears its throat and looks up at them sternly. "What are you 2 doing out of your room at this hour?" the fox asks in a surprisingly deep voice. "You know very well that students are not allowed to wander the halls after lights out." Vivian and Tessa exchange a sheepish peek before quickly explaining about the strange noise they had heard. The fox's expression softens a bit, and it seems to consider their words for a moment. "I don't hear anything," the fox says at last, "but I'll investigate. You 2 go back to your room and stay there. I'll let you know if there's anything to worry about." Vivian and Tessa nod, feeling relieved that someone is going to investigate the strange noise. As they turn to make their way back up the stairs, they both hear the whining sound again, louder this time. They exchange a worried glance before hurrying back to their room, hoping that the fox will be able to get to the bottom of the mystery. As Vivian and Tessa make their way back to their room, they wonder about the strange sound they had heard. "What do you think it is?" Vivian asks, her brow furrowed in confusion. Tessa shrugs. "I have no idea. It sounds like an animal in distress, but there's no way there could be a wild animal in the school. It's against the rules." Vivian nods in agreement. "Yeah, that's true, and it seems like only we can hear it. The fox teacher doesn't even seem to notice." Tessa looks thoughtful for a moment. "Maybe the sound is magical. Like, maybe only people with a certain sensitivity to magic can hear it." Vivian's eyes widen with excitement. "That's a really interesting idea, Tessa. It could explain why the fox teacher didn't seem to hear it. But what kind of magic would make a sound like that?" Tessa shakes her head. "I'm not sure, but I think we should investigate. Maybe there's a clue in a book." Vivian nods in agreement. "You're right. We should definitely look into it. But we have to be careful. We don't want to get in trouble with the fox teacher." Tessa rolls her eyes. I know. We're not supposed to leave our room at night, but sometimes rules are meant to be broken, right?" Vivian grins. The two girls spend the rest of the night poring over the pages of books, searching for any clues that might explain the strange sound. But despite their efforts, they find nothing that can shed light on the mystery. As they drift off to sleep, their minds are still filled with questions. They can't help but wonder what secrets the school of Admirari holds, and what other mysteries lie hidden in its walls. On Saturday afternoon, Tessa and Vivian are sitting in their room and talking about the strange sound from the previous night. They wonder if the sound is truly only heard at night, or if it's simply easier to hear due to less background noise. Tessa has an idea. She remembers that Zoe's magic companion is a magic mirror that allows them to communicate as if they are in the same room. The only thing they have to do is find a mirror and call for Zoe 3 times. Tessa suggests that they contact Zoe to see if she has any ideas about what could be causing the sound. After a bit of fumbling around, Tessa finally manages to get the mirror working, and soon they are speaking to Zoe as if she is right there with them. "That's an interesting observation," Zoe says in response to their description of the sound. "If the sound only occurs at night, it could be related to something that happens during that time, such as an animal or natural phenomenon. Or maybe it could be caused by something man-made, like a machine used at night." Tessa and Vivian thank Zoe for her input and decide that they will try to listen for the sound at different times throughout the day to see if they can narrow down the cause of the mysterious noise. As the day passes by, Tessa and Vivian hear nothing out of the ordinary. They spend their time studying and chatting with Zoe through the magic mirror. However, as nightfall approaches, the sound returns, louder than ever before. Despite their reservations, the sound is so unsettling that they can't ignore it. Tessa and Vivian exchange worried glances, wondering if they will ever be able to solve the mystery of the strange sound. Tessa suggests they try to sneak out of their room and investigate, but Vivian reminds her of the danger they could face if they are caught. They know they can't investigate while the fox teacher is around, as the teacher is nocturnal and unlikely to sleep. So they wait, listening intently for any sign that the teacher has left their post. Finally, after what feels like hours, they hear the sound of the teacher's footsteps receding down the hall. With a quick look at each other, Tessa and Vivian slip out of their room and begin their investigation. The girls make their way to the stairs, where they hear the sound coming. They creep quietly down the hallway, trying to make as little noise as possible. As they reach the stairs, they notice a small hole next to them. Upon closer inspection, they realize that it is a small, hidden place. It looks like it has been intentionally concealed. Excited and curious, Tessa and Vivian peer through the hole, trying to see what is inside. They can barely make out anything, but they can hear a faint humming sound. It seems to be coming from deeper inside the hidden space. The girls exchange excited glances and decide to try to find a way to access the hidden area. Tessa spots a wooden plank with a small hole in it that seems to cover the entrance to the hidden place. She carefully tries to remove the plank, hoping to find a way to get inside. Vivian nervously keeps watch, worried that the fox teacher might catch them. Tessa manages to remove the plank as silently as possible, revealing a small hide with a box inside. The humming sound grows louder, and Tessa's curiosity is piqued. She tries to find a way to get inside the hide, wondering what secrets it might hold. Tessa's heart is pounding as she reaches through the small hole and feels around for the box. It is a tight squeeze, but she manages to fit her hand through and feel around. Suddenly, her fingers brush against something cold and metallic. With a triumphant grin, she grasps the object and pulls it out of the hidden space. It is a small, intricately decorated metal box with a strange symbol etched onto its lid. As soon as Tessa lifts the box out of the hidden space, the sound abruptly stops. Tessa and Vivian freeze, their hearts pounding in their chests. They can hear footsteps approaching from down the hallway. They quickly place the wooden plank back over the hole and silently retreat back to their room. As they tiptoe down the hallway, they hear the fox teacher's footsteps getting closer and closer. They reach their room just in time and quickly shut the door behind them, barely able to contain their excitement and nerves. Once they are safely inside their room, Tessa and Vivian examine the metal box. They wonder what could be inside and what the strange symbol on the lid represents. They try to open it, but it seems to be locked. They can hear the sound of the fox teacher's footsteps passing by their door, and they know they have to be careful not to get caught. Excited by this discovery, Tessa and Vivian decide to keep the box a secret and continue their research, determined to unlock its secrets and learn more about this box and how to open it. As they lay in their beds that night, they know that they have stumbled upon something truly special and that their adventures at the Magical Academy are just beginning.